And welcome. In this Star Valor video here, we are going to discuss the skill point usage and where best to put these skills and why. So this game, you got the level 50 max, so 50 skill points, you got 5 different skill trees, and you have different abilities, crossover abilities with these skills trees too. So let's go into it right here as soon as this game gets loaded up. More stuff you have. Okay, you only get the 3 skill resets in this game, so you're going to want to be careful on what you pick. And these skills at the bottom are the combination skills, like, you need a beam efficiency type thing. So let's go in here right now. Excuse me, a little bit sick. In the social one right here, if you're going to go with a fleet build, I don't recommend it. It's just a lot of extra work. Some of the lots of your abilities, like the extra equipment and stuff like that for specialized things don't work. You get other bonuses for solo pilot that add up to your ship. And if you want some of the achievements going around there on your small ships killing big guys, you have to do it solo type of a deal without any help. So you won't get them if you're in a fleet type of thing. But you can, have your fleet on backup, and it doesn't matter. But if you are going to go in the fleet, crew efficiency is a really big thing right here. So you're going to want all of these bonuses here, and out of these 2 right here, I would go with the prestige for your build, and of course you're going to want to get the combo ability squad leader for another 5% for you and your ship. But let's carry on with the real build right here. Still, don't take this build as a cookie cutter example of what to do. This one isn't perfect, but if you're going to want to have beam efficiency and get that 20% less energy, very helpful, especially if you're going to be playing Vanguard, because they have extra bonuses to beam weapons that you're going to want to take advantage. You're going to want this, and you're going to want the advanced cooling, that 30% weapon cooling. They take a lot of heat on these weapons. These are both awesome skills that you're going to want to take, but on our end build, we're not going to be able to take this one here, unfortunately. But this is just an example of one of the builds, and then on the equipment space one here is probably one of the most important ones. You get 10% more equipment. It adds up to like 18 on one of the bigger ships, and that's a lot of inventory space you can use. And of course, the extra weapon space, it really helps out on any class of a ship. Even the small ones that you're going to go around with, the size 2, you're going to get 2 more extra weapons. That's an extra torpedo, and a torpedo that could end up doing like 6 or 7k damage if you know how to use them properly. So that's a lot of damage compared to other stuff, and even adding smaller weapons. It's just very handy to have all of these things right here. These other abilities are nice, but we can't take them all. And if you really want to, if you're going with the Vanguard and you want to go with the beam efficiency, I would recommend, you don't really need any of these skills here as a priority. You just need 10 points. I would keep the mining ones, I guess. So if you're going to be playing it off and playing there, so you don't have to switch them again, you get a little bonus at the start. I would take these 2 mining ones right here. You don't really need the extra cargo space as badly. It is nice to have, but it's another point that we're going to want to save for later on. And of course, over here we have the different builds right here. This is a more damage build. I don't have the hit points in there. You just run out of points. And some of these other skills over here. So let's get started on why some of these skills are here and what we should change. So first of all, change this. Take this out. You get 1 more free point. You can stick in that into acceleration. And then we have the 5 points here. We got a choice: weapon or hit points. So the hit points are really nice. That's 5% per. But after more experimenting, this it says 1 DPS for each weapon. That seems really low. And I was going to recommend getting the whole 25% more hit points on your ships, because that's obviously really nice. And that's a personal preference for you. If you want to go tanking, just make sure you take all this row here. This is more for tanking, more for shields, but for the damage on the other ships, like the regular missiles, it ended up being like 40 damage per point for your weapon. So the bigger lasers and weapons like that end up being 40 damage per point, and for the big torpedoes that you want to make, it ended up being like 100 damage per point, over 100 actually. So it was like a difference on my torpedoes by 600 damage, which means they're losing out on that extra crit too. So it ended up being a loss of damage of 1,500, and then that's quite a bit out of the when the weapon is doing 7,000 damage a hit, you're down to like 5,000 and a little that type of thing. So it ended up being a big difference on some of the weapons, and you don't want to really miss out on that. So you're going to want the crit and crit damage if you're going to go for the big hit combinations on there and get stuff done. But of course, you want this as the most important, and of course, energy storage is going to be a key thing, versus scavenging. Like, what the hell? Who cares? But the energy optimization, 25% energy generation, is a key factor in lots of these big, huge ships that you're going to build, and even the small ones. Any little bit helps. It saves you space on your ship. Now you don't really need nano boosters, because I've made tons of custom weapons, and I never go over the free boosters anyways. And this just makes them, cost cheaper. So if you really wanted to go over there and heavily boost things, it takes up your weapon space. So it goes from 0.5 to 0.25, so you can double it up per space on your ship, type of a thing. But I never go over the free boosters on my weapons. Anyways, you're not gaining any extra special effect. You get 10% more crit, or actually you can get a 10% more crit, or versus 20% more crit if you're going to stack that up. But you're going to have an extra weapon space, or versus putting another extra core into your weapon, which is going to be a lot more damage outright altogether. So it kind of negates the thing right there. It's like, a negating factor. We don't need that. That could go into a navigation too for acceleration. And we have to pick 5 more points in here. And of course, the second part of scavenging right there is a lot better than the first one. So we put 5 points into here. You don't really need this, the extra rarity level, but it is nice to have. You don't really need it. You can save that point if you really want to. It's not a big deal. And versus acceleration, it might be better for you or not. But that gives you enough points to get the heat generation. And that's what the equipment space and the advanced heating thing, and that's good enough. And over here we have the same type of thing. I just put everything in here in the shields and get damage resistance. We don't need everything in here, but the extra damage resistance on everything is really nice. You could sacrifice it if you really wanted to and just get the minimum points and stick those into acceleration too if you wanted. But this is an example of a good build. Well, not that, if you move those points around and put more into acceleration. This would be an example of a standard build for more energy, power, and stuff like that, but it's not really the best I found overall. So let's reset these skills and take a look at what would be better. So we can take a I can show you the damage right now, just to show you right the difference on this right here. So this guy right here is 3,200 damage a hit right there. And then when we go there and reset our skills, it's going to go down obviously because I don't have the crit down there, and damage is as to the crit. But now it's 2,300 damage. So that's a big, huge damage loss right there for what you're going to be going through. But let's go on to the exploration size, the cargo space and stuff like that. It was nice trying it out before, but in the end, you're going to want to be effective at this game, and speed in this game, top speed and acceleration is such a big factor, especially at the start of the game. So when you are starting, I would definitely highly recommend just putting all your points into navigation right at the start. It makes a huge difference when you're running around and doing stuff and going back and forth between the space stations and doing business like that. You can rake in a lot of money off these little quests right here. So I would recommend just going into here right away. And of course, the zoom in this game really sucks, and getting that extra zoom level makes a big difference. And the extra scanning doesn't hurt for this. So, but we want that for sure, and we want to get that, and that helps with our speed a lot on our ships. So let's go. Here's we don't go in the dock as much. So the speed on the ship right here, is up to now it's up to 88 for the max speed, which is boosted by 25% when you go up to the maximum here. And then of course with your speed boosters, it says like 97 right there with speed boosters. But the top speed on a small ship like this is up to 90. Which is pretty nice. I don't think the boosters were taking effect because of that, but let's go in here. Too close. It's too close. So once we got that started, we might want to have this right here. So this is another awesome thing right here that's probably overlooked, because it's just +1 speed, agility, and 10% mass, and diminishing returns on the speed boosters, which means your speed boosters are going to be more effective. And then on the bigger ships, it's going to make a bigger difference. Obviously, the speed boosters, it says 97%. Yeah, my boosters weren't on that. That's why. Stupid me. But anyways, to where you want to put the extra points to get that one right there, you're going to want to stick it in the scanners over warp cost, because you can get warp cost down any way you want later on. So at the end of the game, just sticking it in the scanners will be helpful for getting stuff done a little bit faster. And then we take the ultralight thing right there, and this will change our speed up to our acceleration up a lot higher. It doesn't affect your max speed, but it helps your acceleration by quite a bit. And of course, the speed boosters are now 10% better on this ship, for an example. On other ships, it's the bigger, huge ships, it's like a 5% different. Yeah, let's use the speed boosters this time. So yeah, 200 speed is pretty nice. Got there in like just a second. It's nice for moving around like this. And then of course, you got the extra zoom level there too. This is a lot easier to see stuff in the game from this view compared to this, especially when you're going to go around with torpedoes and stuff like that, since they're so tricky to fire. And that type of deal. But now that we got this out of the way, I really do think this is a good, really nice priority to get. You can save it and not put all these extra 5 points in here right away for when you're starting your game. So when you're first starting, I would just put the 5 points in here and save all the rest, and then put your other points in here to get that extra zoom. That's a choice for you between get your power generation up there, because that would be your next most important thing. You could just put the 5 into here and then go nuts with your power convergent here and get your energy right there and do that. And now we still need the 10 points in here, so we stick 5 into here, and now we have that. So that is where you should put your points as a minimum thing to get that up, and then you could build up for the extra zoom if you're getting sick of how bad it is for the zoom and you want that extra speed. That's your choice when you're leveling up. But let's go over into the combat. We want more space on our ship, and we want to get this one out of the way too. So as I said, we want to go with the weapon damage right here. So we're going to stick the weapon damage in there to make a big difference, and then of course the extra crit is nice too, because that gets added into your damage automatically. So we stick that in there, and now we can go into the weapon cooling, and we can take the critical damage, and we still need this. So it's up to you to what you want to pick. You want more shields or you want more hit points. We don't have enough points now. We only have 6 points left to get this one right here. So you could take all of this if you wanted to, but we might be missing out on some of the other things. So let's see what we can get on here. So if you wanted to go say, you know, more hit points versus shields, like you want to go to a big tank build later on with no shields, you can do that in this game. You can go on there and build a nice big huge ship and just go all into damage resistance and hit points and not worry about shields and stack up more hit points on your ship and have more regeneration type of deal. But if we're going to do that, we can stick our points into here and then pick up that, and we have 1 skill point left. So that's going to mean that we don't have enough to get that 10% damage resistance. The cap is 80% on your damage resistance, and then later on when this is going to be changed, and it's going to be actual armor value, and you're going to get diminishing returns on that armor value for the armor skills on here. For that 10% damage reduction, it's going to be armor or something like that. So yeah, you have 1 point free for your build, and you can stick that on, like, you know, you can get extra things here, or you can go for extra hit points, or if you're going to the shields, you can stick it on your shields. But at the end of the day, that's up to you. But now you know what they are going to do and how effective they're going to be. So for me, I would put it on. I guess if you're just, you know, playing out starting, you could go with mass scavenging. You know, it helps you with your luck. Basically, you might get extra luck on some of the stuff you might find in there, and you know, that could always be handy. But there you go. There is the end of the build right here. You get that extra speed. It's nice and handy, and all of that wonderful stuff. And we don't lose our damage on our weapons on here, so we're still stuck at our 3,000 versus the weaker thing right there. And if you want the damage, you do that. If you want the tanking, go the other way. Yeah, you pick what you want to do. But this is what I recommend you do for later on in the game. And what I wanted to show you, the difference between the bigger ships in here. Of course, I got too much stuff. So you take out the bigger ship right here, and now his speed is up to 16 per second, and this was stuck at, you know, a lot less basically before, lower than 16, and acceleration was up 5% on my test right here. So I got, you know, at the end of the day, I got a lot more acceleration, a lot more max speed, and, you know, another 6% on my speed boosters that on my current ship. So this makes this big clunker right here go a lot faster and accelerate a lot faster, and it also helps with your inertial dampening, so you can turn and move at the same time, the type of a thing, without losing as much speed and go around like that. So this is pretty nice for a big ship to move so quickly, and now you can see stuff versus not. This is what you would normally see if you don't take that extra zoom level. As you can see, you can't see basically anything in front of you versus a little bit more. It's still not enough, but it's better than what it was. And I recommend the visibility. The functionality outweighs the other benefits of the other ones later on. And if you don't believe me, just play the game a while and find out for yourself. You got 3 skill resets. You can try it out and the difference out. But after playing around like this and then going up like this for the zoom value, I don't want to go back. I need more zoom, especially in the bigger ships like this, and even run around with the torpedoes and stuff like that. You need to see the guys before you can shoot them, especially when you're charging it up. But thanks for watching, and hopefully this helps you out deciding on what type of build you want on your skills, and yeah, go with this one here, or go with the energy generation, and, you know, decide what you want, hit points or shields. It doesn't really matter too much. It's all with the defense, but, you know, the shields will actually help you with the shield absorb, and it makes a difference. This was up to, like, you know, almost 10k on my shields without this build, and the damage reduction on my shields is affected too, so that affects your damage reduction too. So just so you know, if you're going to go a highly build on the Vengay side, where they have extra damage reduction on everything, that actually helps out with the damage absorption thing right here, putting the points into the shields. So Vengay, definitely go with the shields versus the hit points. But yeah, they also get hit point regeneration. So yeah, up to you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.